It not tolerated. And you guys already know how to do this. So go ahead and get your ink pens, paper, and pencil out. It's time to get ready. I want you to be ready for this amazing conversation that we're going to have tonight with my good friend. And I'm telling you, it's going to be exciting. Find some friends, tell them to go ahead and log in because we're going to take it to the max. To those of you that are already coming in, great to have you with us. To those of you behind the scenes, come on in and enjoy the fun with us. I am super excited tonight about my phenomenal guest. He is absolutely one of my famous uh, people that I am enjoying to learn more about and to have as what I want to call as a fellow colleague, mentor, friend, all of those big things that happens in the business industry. Mr. Velton Showell is in the house. Mr. Leaderologist himself is with us tonight. I am super excited. Hey, Velton, how are you doing?
Oh, Victoria, not as good as you, and I'm fantastic.
Amazing, amazing. I am super excited that you were able to spend some time with me and have this opportunity to talk to me in front of all of our friends out there who may not know what a famous person you are to me. I mean, really. I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, you're absolutely one of those people that I have enjoyed just kind of researching and following through and finding out who you are and what this whole leaderologist means. And so, guys, I want to tell you that this phenomenal young man is internationally known for being highly searched out, for being able to talk to businesses and small professional business people and leading us to that next level of understanding what true leadership is. He has an extensive bio that I will not read all of that information because I tell you, you could get lost in just reading his bio. It is, when I say lost, it's an absolutely amazing picture just to hear from this young man and how he's accomplished so many different things. And I'm super excited that I also have the pleasure of telling y'all, and y'all already know my role. I have his new book. It's Leadership Dynamics. You better buy it. Belson, I have this rule. You got to buy three copies, not one, not two, but three copies. You got to buy one for yourself, one for your friend, and one for somebody to go ahead and have that big old book club. And I'm telling you, this right here, can you see my sticky notes? I got stuff already in here that I'm like this. It's like reading a mystery and you can't wait to get to the end of it, but then you don't want to get to the end. So I'm super excited to have you with me tonight. Brother, can you just give the people just a little bit and tell them just a little bit of who you are and how you came to be Mr. Leaderologist?
Victoria, I appreciate all of the accolades and all of the things that you've said about me. But one of the things that I tell everybody is I was truly blessed, and I'm continuing to experience blessings every day. I'm just a little humble kid from Camden, New Jersey, who happened to have the opportunity to be there at the right time in the right place with the right people. People talk about luck, and I learned very early in my life that luck is something that you create yourself by being mentally, emotionally, and physically prepared for an opportunity that presents itself to you. You create your own luck. And to say that, I mean that because when I first started my career, everybody told me I couldn't do anything that I wanted to do. When I started going to Rutgers University and getting my degree, and I came back home, there was no jobs in the city that they told me I was qualified for because I had no experience. I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to start in the hotel business in Baltimore, Maryland. And it's interesting, I don't want to take a long time to talk about it, but this was in the 80s. Yes, I'm an old man. I'm not a young guy, but I've been around for a little while. But when I went home and I told my mother that I had accepted a job in the hotel business, she looked at me. We were in her kitchen, and there were no sharp objects in the area, thank goodness. But she looked at me and she turned around. She said, "What'd you say to me?" I said, "I just accepted a job with Hyatt Hotels and Resorts, and I'm moving to Baltimore, Maryland in 2 weeks." and she sat down. She said, "You mean to tell me your father and I have worked all of our adult lives for you to take a job in somebody's hotel? You didn't have to go to college to get a job in a hotel. You could have done that right out of high school." Now, I tell you that story because it kind of frames situations, especially for young people, but also for leadership, because the first person that you lead in life is yourself. And if you don't understand that you have to lead yourself first, then you are missing the opportunity to do something. Oops, excuse me. My phone is telling me it's not having trouble hearing me. But anyway, so I said, "Mom, it's a trainee position." She said, "I don't care." So when I moved to Baltimore, Maryland, it was a different experience because I left my entire family in New Jersey, and I knew very few people, if anybody, in Baltimore. And it's a different world because even though it's not New York, it's not Philadelphia, it's not the Northeast, it's a slower pace. So you have to adjust yourself in that instance. But my mother never realized that I really had a job until she called me one day and she said, "You work in the hotel. You still in the hotel?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Your uncle and I are going to Atlanta to visit the family." I said, "Okay." She said, "You think you can get a discount on one of the hotels in Atlanta?" And I said, "Let me make some phone calls." And one of my mentors, I don't talk about her in the book, but I just sent her a copy of my book, is a lady named Valerie Ferguson. So I called Valerie. She was one of the first African American women general managers in a major hotel in the country. And she was the general manager of the Hyatt Regency Atlanta on Peachtree. So I called Val and I said, "Val, I need a favor. My mom and my uncle are coming to Atlanta, and they're going down to, my family's not from Atlanta. They're from deep in the woods, Junction City, Georgia.
Oh, Jackson City.
I mean, deep, 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 90 miles from Atlanta, near Columbus. But anyway, so she said, "Oh, sure, Val, I'll take care of them." She said, "Well, we have a program. You get 3 nights free and 3 nights at the employee rate." Well, they were only staying 3 nights. I said, "Okay." So I said, "Mom, I got your discounted rate for you and Uncle Bill at the Hyatt on Peachtree." She said, "Okay, thank you." So my mom gets to the hotel. And when she gets there and the bellman take her luggage, when she gets to the front desk, they said, "Mrs. Showell, we've been expecting you. All we need is a credit card for your incidentals." So she gives them her credit card. They take her to the elevator, and these are the glass elevators that go up to the 22nd floor of the Hyatt Regency Atlanta. Her and my Uncle Bill have a 2-bedroom suite on the
Wow.
22nd floor of the Hyatt Regency Atlanta. And I tell you that story because for the first time in my career, baby boy had arrived. I had a real job. So, when little things like that kind of they inspire you to not only want to achieve more, but to do more, because Valerie didn't have to do that for me. She could have given my mom 2 rooms, but she inspired me as a leader, someone who was at the precipice of excellence, to reach back to this lowly little kid,
Mm-hmm.
give him that kind of motivation and inspiration to share with someone else who's not yet arrived at where I was in that particular perspective. So when I talk about leadership, I talk about paving the way for other people, sharing your knowledge, sharing your expertise, sharing your experience, so that the road that they travel is not as steep as the road that you travel.
Right. Right. Wow. See, you just amaze me. I can just sit and listen to you for hours. I mean, some people will say, "Oh, you just," but you are giving life to what leadership truly is, and you're taking it from your own experiences and bringing it to the forefront. And one of the things that you say is transform your thinking. You can transform your world. And most people don't realize that it starts with the thinking, the process of thinking. So So if you could tell people more about that transformation piece and how important it is of actually changing how you think.
Well, you know, if you read any kind of philosophy or quotes, you understand that a person is what they think about all day. And so if you think negative thoughts, you're always going to be in a negative environment. People say the glass is either half full or half empty. Well, in reality, the glass is 100% full all the time. It's half full of water and half full of air, or it's full of water, or it's full of air, but it's full. So if
Wow.
you're looking at the fact that there's something that's prohibiting me from getting to where I want to be, then you'll always be focused on what's prohibiting you versus what needs to be done to achieve what it is you want to achieve. We all have, we think, we sit back and we start today. And I tell people this from a leadership perspective when you're leading other people. Nobody wakes up in the morning wanting to have a bad day. It's the things around them that have that influence on them that either changes their day to a positive day or changes their day to a negative day. So as a leader leading yourself, what I encourage people to do is to think positive thoughts. You either win or you learn. And when you learn, you utilize that knowledge to help inflate you to the next realm or the next rung in the ladder. You never let it take you down. You use it as a stepping stone to lift you up. We're all going to have issues, or as I call them, areas of opportunity that are less than what we expect them to be. But if you look at it as a problem or a challenge or something negative, you don't look at it as an opportunity. What did you learn from that? Now that you've learned something, how can you utilize that to elevate yourself, but as a leader, more importantly, to elevate the people around you?
Wow. See, I love the concept of areas of opportunity because if you never, my thing is I take the word self, seeing every level form. So if you're taking every level form and you're having that opportunity that nothing truly is negative if you open it up to a different area, if you open your mindset to thinking on a different plateau, because it's all going to be just a teaching tool. It's a part of learning.
Absolutely. And in a leadership role, I use LEAD as an acronym. People say, well, what does LEAD mean? Well, LEAD means, number one, my great grandfather said something to me when I was a kid. He said, Sonny Boy, he used to call me Sonny Boy. Don't take it, I didn't take it personal, so don't y'all take it personal. Sonny Boy, let me tell you something. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen twice as much as you speak. And I read about that in the book. I quote him in the book because it still sticks with me to this day. And what he was telling me is if you're really going to reach people, people want you to listen to them more than you speak to them. If you speak to people more than you listen to people, eventually people look at you like Charlie Brown's teacher. Remember Peanuts? And Charlie Brown and the kids used to go to school and the teacher would be standing in front of them going, wah, 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 wah. That's what you end up becoming to the people around you because you're not paying attention to them. You're just talking. And people will tune you out. So listening is the first letter in the word lead, L. Number 2, we all have issues. We all have areas of opportunity. We all have, I'm going to say the word problems. So what we're all looking for is not sympathy, but empathy. So if you're listening to someone and they're bringing something to you, it may be a major problem, it may be a minor problem, it may be that they're looking for a solution to a situation that they're in. And you first empathize with them and acknowledge the fact that there is an issue and there is an area of opportunity. Now you've got their attention. The next letter is A. Well, you can listen to me, you can act like you understand me, but I need some action. So they want to make sure that you are prepared to stand to shoulder with them and take some action. Do something, make something happen. Make it do, as Ray Charles says, we're going to make it do what it do.
Make it do what it do.
We're going to do something. We're not just going to sit here like a bump on a log. And the last letter is D. Because you can listen, you can empathize, you can take action. But if you don't deliver, it's all for naught.
That's it.
You got to deliver. So you have to be, number one, once you've listened, once you've empathized, once you've decided which action to take, make sure that that action is going to deliver the type of results that are necessary to take us from average to outstanding or from good to great.
I love it. And that is something that you say quite often, is that you are taking people from good to great. Mm-hmm. And you know, most people, well, is there a gray area? So would you say that there is a gray area between good and great?
There is a major area between good and great. You can look at company after company after company. There are companies out there that are all doing good. They're doing good. They're making money. They're making their projections every year. But then there's the great companies, the companies that are dictating the market, that are leading the market. I'll give you an example of, let's take Apple Computers. Apple Computers started a small computer company. And when they first started out, people thought they were crazy. They thought Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs were from planet Mars, because they were working in a garage trying to come up with a computer that was going to be different than Microsoft.
That's right.
They never lost track of their mission or their thought or where they wanted to go. They started with a PC. Then you got, what was it? It was an iPod, an earpod. What was the little thing that they had? It was where you downloaded music and you could listen to music.
Oh yeah, the MP4s?
Before the MP4s, it was like an MP3. It was like an earpod. And it was something that was about this big, and my kids had them, and you could download music on it.
Yeah.
And they started in the phone area. Then they started with an iPad. They came with the iPad. Now they've got the earbuds. Now they've got something else. What they've developed is, instead of just being another computer company, they now have a suite of products that once you buy Apple, everything that you have eventually will support or communicate or will be a part of Apple. Right. They went from nowhere to somewhere to good to great.
Wow. Wow. So the key is never to stop, would you say?
Well, once you stop, you're dead. If you don't continue to develop and challenge the status quo, because there's two things. I read a book back in the 90s, and I told you I'm dating myself now. It was called The Paradigm Shift. And the paradigm shift was really about companies who were great. IBM, the Swiss watch manufacturers. What happened with them is they owned the market. And therefore, they decided they didn't have to do anything because they owned the market. IBM had mainframe computers that would take over a whole room.
Wow.
The Swiss watch manufacturers made great watches, and they were all wind-up watches. What happened to IBM was a little company called Compaq. Mm-hmm. Compaq created a desktop computer. IBM had the opportunity to buy Compaq, but they said they'll be out of business in a year. We don't want to deal with it. We own the market. Well, Compaq started and launched a new idea of taking a mainframe and putting it in a room that there could be 10 computers on desks and still room for other people. So now all of a sudden you've got competition that is rewriting the rules of the marketplace. The Swiss ran into a small company called Timex, who
Mhm.
created the quartz watch. I no longer have to wind it. I no longer have to worry about if it's slowed down and I'm 20 minutes behind because my watch is about to die. My watch now lives on for a year and a half without me touching it. It almost put the Swiss out of business. If you look at it now, they're coming back with quartz watches. The last example I'll use, and it didn't it's not well, it didn't happen in the 90s, but it happened later, was Blockbuster Video.
Yep.
Remember Blockbuster Video?
Oh, yes.
Blockbuster Video had a store in every corner
Yes, they did.
until a small company came to light called Netflix. Now, here's the thing. This is where good to great really comes into reality. The president of Blockbuster was approached by the founder of Netflix and said, we've got a new idea, we've got a new concept that we think will work. We'd like for you to look at it, and you could buy the company if you're interested. The president of Blockbuster said, what do I need that for? I don't need that. We're good.
Wow.
We are the best. We are the top. We've put everybody else out of business. Well, guess what? Where is Blockbuster today and where's Netflix? Netflix now owns the market because they saw the evolution of business and they grabbed hold of what was going on and they adopted their structure, their process, and their mindset to take on the new normal. And coming out of COVID-19, we're challenged again with the new normal.
So you bring that in. So as a leaderologist, and I love it because you created words, and I love it. You know, that's one of the other things that attracted me to you, something that you said on one of the shows that I watched you, is because I create words too. So yeah. So, you know, we're kind of cousins on that. So when you think about what's going on in 21 and all of the things that we've experienced with COVID, where do you see leadership at this point? You know, because now we're either working from home or we're doing very limited, you know, in-person type, you know, intervention. Where do you see that going for us as leaders in you know, major corporations as well as small business?
One of the things that concerns me moving forward with leadership, and this is nothing derogatory about the next generation, but I have children. My children are now adults, and I'm going to embarrass my son, but I'm going to do it because I love him to death, and he is a true professional in his own right. He has his own career. But I learned very early with him and my daughter, who's also a true professional, that they look at things differently, they think differently, and they act differently. What do I mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
My son, if I call my son on the phone, he may answer, he may not. 9 times out of 10, the may not is greater than the answer. Okay, I'm getting older now, so he's giving me a little bit more sympathy. All right, maybe I should say empathy. But anyway, I may not get an immediate answer, but if I send him a text message, I will get a response in 30 seconds.
Exactly.
The issue here is because technology has now taken over, we are losing something that is inherently necessary in leadership, and that is people skills.
That's right.
We all want to be heard and appreciated. Well, a text is very impersonal. A text, you can't really make a person feel a certain way through a text. One of my favorite poets was Maya Angelou, and she said this: people may forget what you say, people may even forgive what you do, but they will never forget how you make them feel. And you've heard me say this before. Leaders are environmentalists, charged with the responsibility of creating an environment for success. So how do I create that environment when the person that I'm communicating with may not be sitting or standing in front of me, but I still need them to feel
That's it.
that I'm there for them and I care about them professionally and personally. So sometimes I got to pick up the phone.
Mhm.
I've got to have a conversation with that person. It may not be every hour, it may not be every day, it may be once or twice a week, but at some point, I've got to show that human side of me so that they understand that I'm not just talking to a talking head or Charlie Brown's teacher.
So true. So true. So I want to touch on something that's in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you guys are just now tuning in, I'm gonna need you to get 3 copies of this Leadership Dynamics by my good friend, Mr. Velton Showell, who's with us tonight. You need to purchase 3 copies. Again, this book is amazing. Can I just say one more time? This book is amazing. And not only one of the reasons why I love it too is that throughout the book, you quote people like Maya Angelou. You quote people, John F. Kennedy. I mean, you quote a whole lot of different people. You give people those accolades, and even in the chapter that you talk about the accolades. See, I remember that. It's amazing how we as people never forget those things that touch us the most. And one of the things that you talk about in the book that caught my attention was you said and I'm not gonna y'all got to buy you 3 copies, so you're not gonna know what chapter I'm on or what page I'm on. Belton will because he wrote the book. But you talk about hiring the right people.
Mm-hmm.
And you break down all of these various questions, and those of us that are, how do I say, seasoned, if you will, these are questions that we were challenged with as we were getting into business and being interviewed. And now, as we're looking at these same questions, like you said, the generation that is either behind us or is coming forward, they're looking at these questions on a different area. They're looking at them on a different time frame, even with a different mindset of how to answer them. So, what could you say to these individuals who are now looking at these same questions that we had, and the same questions that we as employers and entrepreneurs that we're looking for people to work for us? How would you tell them to prepare to start getting themselves ready to be hired by someone that is tenured? We're seasoned. We have a whole different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to come to us on a different level.
Well, most of the time, when you get those questions presented to you, you're trying, and I know I'm going back to my own history and how I at one time was trying to digest those types of questions. I was always looking at in my life from a professional or a business perspective, when I encountered something like that, how did I handle it? Well, life isn't just business. Life is about life. And there are things in your personal life or your social life that you can be confronted with that you can utilize those types of decision making processes that you formulated to explain or to answer those questions. Now, I'm not talking about doing anything to incriminate yourself if you've done something at a party one night and you had to figure out how to get yourself out of that little situation. Because we've all now, this is recorded, but we ain't going to put ourselves on blast from that standpoint because I told you where I'm from. I grew up in the city, and hey, I'm just here. I'm real. But there were some experiences that I had that I can utilize to answer those questions in a manner where it tells someone that I have a process of deduction
Mm-hmm.
that would take me from problem, situation to solution. And that's really what people are looking for. The reason that I wrote that section is a book that I read by a gentleman named Jim Collins called From Good to Great. You've heard me talk about that, all right?
Yes.
One of the things he says in the hiring process is get the right people on the bus, get the wrong people off the bus. So when you walk into a situation where you're taking over a department, you're taking over a business, you need to evaluate the people that are on your team. and you need to get the right people on the bus, which means if they're not currently there and they're needed, you need to seek out those people, figure out how to bring them on. And if you've got people that you've decided that aren't getting it or aren't interested in being a part of a winner, then you need to figure out, okay, and what you need to do about that. Now, before I say that, doesn't always mean you get rid of that person. And I'm going to give you a little example. I was a director of sales and marketing in hotels for 20 years. And we had a person on the sales staff who was repeatedly missing their sales goals. Their customers loved them, but they couldn't sell because they couldn't close. They couldn't ask for the business. But they had the best customer experience reports, and they had the best customer relationships in the building. They were misplaced on the team. They should have been in conference services, which is in a department where after the business is already on the books, they take over and hold the customer's hands from the day that they start that process to the day that they leave. That was their area of expertise. It wasn't that cold, harsh prospecting, qualifying and closing. That wasn't who they were. They couldn't do that. So we moved them out of one position into another position. They went from a marginal employee to an excellent employee. So those are some of the things that you have to look at. Number two, when you talk about getting the right people on the bus, you got to figure out what is it that I'm looking for,
Mm-hmm.
and how do I determine what the right person is for that position. Now that I understand what the right person looks like, tastes like, smells like, where do I find that person? And once I identify that person, how do I bring them in and make them feel a part of the team? Not in competition with the people that are already there, but a part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about quotes. One of my favorite quotes is by one of my favorite basketball coaches, Jim, who was the coach of the Chicago Bulls, Phil Jackson. And he said, good teams become great when the players learn to trust each other enough to replace me with we. Now, when you're in a sales environment, you got people that have individual goals and numbers. You got to figure out how to get them to stop saying me, and say we.
Right.
And as a leader, if you can figure out how to get your team, who all have different goals and responsibilities, to stop talking about what's in it for me.
That's right.
And talk about what's in it for us, now you've got an environment that can go from average to outstanding.
Wow. Guys, I'm going to tell you this again. You need to get this book. If you are a leader or a potential leader, this is like the Bible. I mean, it has so much information in it that it's going to keep you constantly thinking and growing. I mean, as I was reading it I'm going to say new entrepreneur, if you will, starting out doing all of my things, my own self, this has actually helped me start to visualize how I want my team players to be. And when they get hired, what I'm looking at. And so one of the things that you talk about is, and it's being a coach and not a police. And you say a coach is responsible for teaching, training, and inspiring leading team members to achieve excellence.
Mm-hmm.
So as a new entrepreneur, as a new leader, what is one thing that you could tell us or tell me? I'm going to use me. What's one thing you tell me is, if I'm looking for some people to add to my team and I'm kind of new at this and I'm trying to think about what's important in my business and what's important, where I want to put this person and that person. Is it like you have to be able to have, like the example that you use, where you have to actually move those pieces of those people around the board in order to fit them into the right place? But if you're going to move them around to different pieces in the puzzle, like a chess game, I would say, if you were going to move them across the board, as a coach, as a leader, is there some way that you can do that without making sure that individual is not feeling intimidated or not feeling inadequate. Because sometimes we, as we're as people, you know, our leaders, if you will, maybe not the good ones, we'll say, or the ones who haven't been through your course, don't know. But sometimes you can be your employees and your people can feel like they're intimidated, like they weren't good enough to do the job. So, how, as a leader, can we make sure that our people know you are good? It's just something that we need to change.
Well, part of that is as we talk about the environment.
Yes.
A lot of times, leaders, we get so in tune and entrenched in what's important to us that we don't know what's important to the people around us. You know, the word why is an acronym. And if you don't know a person's why, then you don't know what makes them tick. You know, everybody's searching for a why. And why really stands for what hurts you or what heals you. Because everybody's either coming from something that's hurt them in the past. It could be people don't leave bad companies, they leave bad bosses.
Come on now, tell the truth.
So if they've had a bad encounter with someone previously, now you know why they're now looking for new employment. So if they are looking for new employment, the second that part of that acronym is what heals you. What's going to heal that hurt? What's going to bring that person back to focusing on what's truly important versus the circumstances? Or looking for that sucker punch or that unexpected situation like the last time I was here. The last time this happened to me. And I'm not going to let this happen to me again. That's number one. So if you can diffuse that angst, then it's no longer a person is feeling intimidated when you talk to them. That's number one. Number two, there's a section I talk about in the book called Management by Walking Around, which is from a book from the 90s also called A Passion for Excellence. Mm-hmm. Management by walking around means that you're creating an environment for success. That means every day when you get up, you're walking around or you're talking to your people and you're looking for something positive to talk about. You're looking for something positive to accentuate. You're looking for something positive to share with everybody on the team. Now, that's not to say that we're in this utopian society where there's nothing negative going on. Right. But if you see something that's negative, it's never a public display. It's a private one-on-one conversation with the individual who's involved or the individuals singularly one at a time that are involved with that situation. Why? Because if all you talk about are the positive things, human nature says that people in your operation now are trying to do something to be recognized for. And they only see you recognizing positive things. So if I do something negative, I'm not getting recognized.
Right.
If I do something positive, my name is going to be on the top of his list because he doesn't miss the positive things.
Right.
He doesn't miss what's positive about what we do. So people start to want to do things that are outside of the norm, that are going to get your attention, that are going to move the envelope or the mission forward. So you're creating that environment and fueling positivity versus negativity. So people now start to view you differently. They don't view you as that police officer who's coming around saying, hey, what are you doing? Hey, I saw that. Hey, where are you supposed to be? Versus Victoria, wow, I can't believe how quickly you got that assignment done. That is absolutely phenomenal. Mm-hmm. How did you do it so quickly? And not just quick, but with excellence. Tell me the story and let everybody hear that conversation. Because now I'm like, well, damn, the Victoria got recognized again. He ain't saying nothing to me. I better do something to get recognized around here. And that's what you're trying to accomplish or promote. Does it happen overnight? No, it doesn't happen overnight. But over time, people start to see your style, your philosophy, and the environment that you're creating. And most people want to be a part of that.
Mm. And you talk about in the book, and I absolutely, I think I got stuck. I don't, when I say stuck, I want to just stay there and just absorb it even the more. And you talk about the different types of leadership styles. And if you, again, to those of you who are just joining us, I'm telling you, you need to get 3 copies of this. You need to. You're going to be able to have one of these copies at your desk. If you're a leader, you're going to need one. Even if you're a pastor, you're going to need this. I'm telling you, it's amazing. But when I got into reading even more about the different types of leadership styles, right? And when I tell you that I was fascinating because I took a test some time ago, anywho, but now reading your book, reading the true leadership styles, I can see my different types of myself. So, what can you tell a leader who is multi-styled? How can we grasp that and so that one does not overweigh the other?
Well, there's 2 things. Number one, leaders have to be chameleons.
Oh,
So you've got to be able to adjust and change yourself depending on the people around you. But here's the fallacy of leadership styles. And I call it a fallacy because I don't truly focus on leadership styles. When I go in and I talk to corporations and they tell me that they've evaluated their leaders on their style, and this person is this, and this person is that, and this is the other thing, that's not really, from my perspective, the most important thing.
exactly.
The most important thing is, who are they leading, and what is the learning style of the people in their department? How do these people process information inside of their departments or inside of their assigned areas? Because if they have a certain leadership style, but the communication style where this person is processing this data or this information is in conflict with that, then they're not reaching the people. So as leaders, it's not about you, it's about them.
Thank you.
It's about the people that you are entrusted to lead, to teach, to train, to mentor, to serve. You heard me say this the other day, and I sent it to you in a text. I said, if service is beneath you, leadership is beyond you.
I loved it. Loved it. So true.
We are servants to the people that we've been entrusted to lead. There's a huge difference between a boss and a leader.
Come on now.
So the question is, what are you trying to be? There are a lot of bosses that are climbing the corporate ladder and they have banana peels under them. Because the bottom line is, if they make one wrong move, they're going to slip and fall because nobody's under there to catch them. There are leaders that are climbing the corporate ladder who may step on that same banana peel, but because of the way they have dealt with the people entrusted under their leadership, somebody's there ready to say, whoa, Victoria slipped. We can't let her fall.
Wow.
To make sure that she's doing well. Now, here's the thing, and goes into the book again. It's very elementary and very. I mean, it's elementary is the best word.
Yes.
I talked to a second grade kid.
I love that story.
Kid, and I watched this class, and the class had a substitute teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about y'all, but when I was in school and we had a substitute teacher, man, it's party time. We gonna make this man or this lady have the day from HE double hockey sticks. We gonna just cut the food today because we don't have to do no work. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching this class, and they're very mannerly. They're showing this lady where this is, where that is. We're supposed to do this at this time. We're supposed to do that at this time. No, that's not over. And I'm sitting there going, what in the heck? When they went to lunch, I saw one of the young men in the hallway and I said, "Hey, man, how you doing?" He said, "I'm fine, sir. How are you?" I said, "Can I talk to you for just a couple of minutes? I've been watching your class and I really would like to ask you some questions." He said, "Yes, sir. I'm supposed to be at lunch, but yes, I can ask you questions." I said, "You guys have a substitute teacher today?" And she said, "Oh, yes, we have a substitute today." I said, "I'm a little amazed at how much your class is going through the day calmly, just like your regular teachers there. You're very mannerly, you're very accommodating, you're very helpful." And he said, "Yes." He said, "Our regular teacher has taught us that we should act a certain way no matter what's going on. And we love our regular teacher. And one of the things that we know is that we want her to be proud of us when she returns. So we are on our best behavior when she's not here so she doesn't get negative reports about us when she returns."
Wow.
And I'm sitting here going, this is a second grader. And if they're
Wow.
grasping that, because this lady is leading second graders to this level, think about it. Fast forward to adults. If we are truly leaders and our people trust us because they know we have their best interest in mind, they work harder for us in our absence than they do in our presence.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. See, okay, guys. See, y'all sending these arrows up and these hearts, and I'm telling you, this is why I have been excited about having Belton on the show. I mean, he takes your mind and he just it just makes you want to suck it up. If you are not getting anything tonight, please log off because I'm telling you, this is just a table full of food for us tonight. It is making me think even the more about the things that have happened in my past and in my past jobs and where I'm at now and what the difference is. It's also making me understand now where some things that I learned and was doing back in the day, why I brought it to the forefront and I'm still doing now with the excellence in mind. Because if you're taught that, if you are a servant leader, you work on that excellent level. You never let with the place that you are change you. You are changing the place that you. And the thing is, and you and I've talked about this. I've been in a place right now where I'm thinking, does anybody really know that your employees are working from home still, but they're working just as hard as if they were in the offices because they still have the desire, they still have the energy, they still have that drive. It doesn't matter where we are if we have a good leader that is supporting the team.
Well, it's a different mindset. That's why I talk about the new normal.
Yes.
Many, many years in corporate America, there was this aversion to allowing people to work from home because we had that police office mentality. If you're out of sight and I can't see what you're doing, my assumption is you're not doing the right things. Doesn't matter what the results are and you get the work done, but the mindset is, well, you got the work done, but if you were here, you could have done more. Okay. But it goes
Mm-hmm.
back to what I said earlier. Nobody wakes up in the morning wanting to have a bad day or to do a bad job. Everybody wakes up in the morning to wanting to excel, wanting to have an exemplary day, wanting to do something incredible. My good friend Simon Bailey he opens one of his speeches and he says this: every human being is operating at the genius level till the age of 4. Research says that. But by the age of 4, they've been conditioned by, you can't do this, don't do that, no, that's not right, color inside the lines, and their creativity is squashed.
Wow.
Their excellence is squashed. What we have the opportunity to do in the new normal as people evolve out of that claustrophobic somewhat environment of being in the office, we have the ability to allow them to unleash a new part of their mind, body, and soul in excellence because they're in an environment where they're comfortable. They're in an environment that's not doesn't have the same kind of pressures, but they still have responsibilities and they still understand they have expectations to be met, but they can do it without the outside negative influences that sometimes come with being in a building with 200, 300, 500 other people. That's number one. Number two, we have to also understand that these major corporations got an aha moment during COVID-19. If I've got a building that I'm paying X $100,000 a year for to house 2,000 employees who have been working from home for a year and a half, do I really want to have that size building? Do I really need that size building? What percentage of those people can I now leave to work from home and only bring the essential people into an office environment or a building environment and get a smaller building with a lower overhead cost?
Wow. Do you ever think that sometimes major corporations who are missing what you're talking about today, the leadership, that leadership aspect of it, do you think it's because what would you label it as the reason that they're missing that key component of your employees are important, and that brings us to another level of excellence for our company? What are they missing that's causing them to not see that?
Education, primarily. And education, a lot of people in the corporate environment, and I don't want to beat up any of our corporate executives, but a lot of people are not promoted on their people skills. They're promoted on their technical knowledge, their financial ability to yield financial results, or something that has no humanistic characteristic to it. And when they get into these positions, they're relying on what got them there to keep them there. And it's not about you, it's about that. Wow. It's not about the people around you, it's about them.
Wow.
There's a couple of examples that I utilize, because one of the things that I'm a very strong advocate of is I don't believe in customer service. I think customer service is a Band-Aid. The real thing is called customer experience.
I love it.
So when you have a customer, from the inception of their relationship or involvement with you through the end, you are writing a story or creating an experience. And I'll give you, for instance, about a couple of companies. One of my favorite companies is Virgin Atlantic Airlines, and it's run by a gentleman named Sir Richard Branson. Now, he is the epitome of a humanistic CEO. And he'll tell you in a minute, I don't have any customers. I don't have any external customers. I don't worry about external customers. And people will look at him and go, the man's wacko. What the heck's wrong with him? He doesn't have any customers. I see people on his planes all the time. That's not where his focus is. His focus is, my customers are my employees. If I take care of my employees, they will take care of every external customer that we have. Because when they feel appreciated, they will make sure that everybody they encounter feels equally appreciated. Think about the mindset that he's created in that company. He's got 100,000 CEOs walking around trying to figure out how to make your day go smoother, brighter, and better. That's one example. Another example is Ritz-Carlton hotels. Now, if you've ever stayed at a Ritz-Carlton hotel, you can understand this situation. When you pull up in the porte cochere at the Ritz-Carlton hotel,
yes,
the doorman comes and gets your luggage. Okay. By the time you get to the front desk, when you walk up to the front desk, they say, "Good afternoon, Miss Holland. We've been expecting you." The question is, how in the do they know who I am? Well, see, what most people don't understand is the doorman has an earbud and a microphone. And he picks your luggage up and he reads the name tag. And he says, "I have Miss Victoria Holland that I'm bringing to the front desk." That is connected to the lady at the front or the gentleman at the front desk. Now they know who you are. That's number one. Number two, what is their mantra or philosophy for everybody, every employee in their company? For those of you who don't know, they are, they say that we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. Think about that. Not we are employees serving the people who come to our building. We are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. And they carry around a card like that, and you see it printed in their hotels. It does two things. Number one, it tells you how they feel about themselves, that they are a lady or a gentleman, and how they feel about you, that you are a lady or a gentleman. But it puts you on notice about how they expect you to treat them and how they're expected to treat you. A little different. The third example I'll give you is Disney. Think about Disney. Disney doesn't call its employees or staff. They are cast members.
That's right.
Because they are creating an experience. They are creating an experience that lasts a lifetime. And they are encouraging you not to come back again, but to come back again and again and again, and for you to bring your children and your children's children and your children's children's children to experience what they have to offer. So when you start to put together a company, or you start to put together a group, when you start to talk to people in these kinds of mindsets and contexts, it starts to catch fire. People start to get excited because they can create something that's outside of the normal situation in most companies. It's special. And if you really want to own your market, you really want to own your niche, you got to be special. What's your point of disruption? How do you disrupt the norm or the status quo?
And so you said that to me in I think one of our first conversations, and I got to tell you, and one of my fellow colleagues is out there. I always say I'm not like anybody else. I think outside of the box. And even when you talked about that in the book, I started to laugh. But I do. I think outside the box. I don't think about the same old thing like everybody else does, because you're creating a new environment, and so that whole concept of thinking outside the box and creating something that's gonna be vibrant and it's gonna help someone else move to their next. You can't be stuck in the mud. You have to think about people on a different level, because not everybody gets excited about certain things. They get excited about life, but they get excited about life on different levels. I mean, for me, listening to you talk and giving the information that you're giving, it's exciting. There may be somebody out there who may not understand it, which is why you need to buy the book. Buy 3 copies. Again, I'm saying 3 copies, but you might need to buy 5. I mean, just I'm just saying. But you need to buy the 3 copies of the book, because you're going to have a whole different mindset once you start reading this book. I promise you. As leaders, and I'm going to say this, see, it's Uncensored Conversation, Velton, so I can say this, okay? I can say this, he can't say it. You bad leaders out there, you need to get 5 copies of this book. You need to be able to know why your employees are leaving you. You need to know why your employees are unhappy. If you read this book and you got an idea, you would understand what's going on with your people in their minds. This is amazing. This is one of the best books that I have read. And I'm just in the middle of it, but I want to keep going. I can't stop. I told you, and I think she's still out there. In 20, I got a book called The Power of Shut Up from my good friend Lisa Dove Washington, who I'm going to be on her celebration on the 24th. I said that she was my next to the Bible book. Now you guys are fighting over the space. I mean, I can't put, if I put both of you together, it would, I don't know what I would call it. The Power of Shutting Up the Great Leaders. I don't know, because you both have such concepts in these books that are helping people to understand what the next levels are. And when I'm reading this, and I mean, even the one I'm gonna get you off of here because you have to get some rest, my friend. But you talk about don't take things personally. It's not don't think personally. It's business, not personal. I love that chapter. It's one of my favorites. See, I kind of jumped around because I was looking at the titles, but then I got it's no hocus pocus. It's all about your focus. And I was like, oh my God. See, you're gonna make me read that one. You're gonna make me wait to the very end to read that chapter, right? But when I started reading just parts of it, I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta just keep my focus. And if I start following, and I'm not gonna tell everybody about it because I want them to buy the book, but the principles that you give in here is phenomenal. It takes your mind to another level. It takes it to a whole different perspective of what true leadership is. And my friend, you have given so much in all of the years that you've been doing this that it is amazing. And people, I want you to reach out to him. I want you to find out more about his business and what he has to offer. He is an avid counselor. He's a consultant. Listen, before y'all send me the, I always get them. Before you send me a text message, he's not going to tell you how much he charges. Okay. We just don't do that. But he is worth being able to sit in his, just to sit and listen to him talk. Velton, I am just amazed. So tell the people what got you started into being the founder. What made you want to take this to the next level and doing the leadership dynamics? What took you to that place right there where you wanted to start that company?
Well, I think part of it is just my makeup. I've been a coach of some sort for many years, and I don't mean a business coach. I didn't start out coaching anybody in business, but I love people and I love to see people excel. I coached soccer for 12 years.
Wow.
And when I started as a soccer coach, I had no idea what the heck I was doing.
Wow.
And that's how most leaders in corporate America start out. They get these jobs and they have no idea what they're doing.
Wow.
So I had to study, I had to watch and observe, I had to train, I had to find a mentor, I had to find someone who knew more about what I was supposed to do than I did. And I had to really spend the time to get it. And as I started working with, and when I talk about coaching, I was coaching kids.
Right.
I started with kids that were 4 years old and I ended with kids that were 20
Wow.
after 12 years. But I learned so much about people skills. That was number one. Number two, my job that I got paid to do, because I didn't get paid to do this, was in corporate America. And I started out as in operations, and I went into sales. And I kept hearing that salespeople aren't good leaders. Salespeople don't make good leaders. Salespeople don't have any leadership skills. And I started scratching my head, going, "Wait a minute,
Mm.
that doesn't make sense to me. Salespeople have more people skills than anybody in the building. So how could they not have leadership skills? Because leaders is about people." So I started watching and studying those people with the right mindset and the right leadership skills. Some of them were in sales, some of them were in operations, but I wanted to take the best skills from the best and put them in my notebook. And even take the worst skills of the worst and put them on another page, because I want to make sure I study the things that are good, but I want to make sure I'm aware of the things that aren't good. And so I started to develop a log, and I started to develop a list of people to watch, to learn from, to talk to. And it helped hone me personally as a leader, but it also gave me the information and ammunition of how I could interpret what I was learning for other people. And that's when I started writing this book, because I got to the point where I said, I'm seeing so many opportunities missed by so many people for very easy to understand issues if they're focused on the right things. And that's why the chapter you just talked about, it's no hocus pocus. It's all about your focus, because it's what you focus on that you can impact or affect. If you focused on the right things, you're going to have an impact on it, but the impact's not going to give you the results that you're looking for. If you focused on the right things, that you're not only going to get an immediate impact on that, but it's going to build a bridge or a connection to something else that can take you to another level. So what are you focused on today? What's important to you? You know, some people spend all their time picking pepper out of gnat poop. And so they end up missing the big picture. You know, I have worked with people that they are very intuitive and analytic, but they analyze the wrong stuff.
That's it.
So the question is, what is it that's important that you're focused on? And are you not too proud, if you're focused on something, to ask somebody, you know, I've been paying a lot of attention to this. I've been spending a lot of time on that. Do you think that's really something that's going to have an impact on where we're trying to get to?
Wow.
Mm. And then, as your friend says, shut up, listen.
That's when we use that power of shut up.
Exactly. Power of be quiet and absorb. Because, you know, bottom line is, I don't have all the answers. I got 1,000 questions. I'm a questioner. But
Yeah.
those questions, it'll get us to the answers that we're looking for.
Wow. Belton, you are just absolutely amazing. And I am honored that I could just sit up under you and just glean. And, yeah, I'm going to just go ahead and make this public. I believe that, there's some people that you can, that can mentor you, and there's other people that you can just, learn from. But there's something about a leader that is a true mentor. And you, my friend, are my true mentor. And I am honored just to be able to have the experience of just being able to sit under your leadership and your teaching. You just make, as a new entrepreneur, you just make a whole thing turn around. You just make that wheel start turning, that I know I can. Yeah, we listen to that child story all the time. I know I can. I know I can. But when you have the opportunity of listening to you and following through as you as a mentor, are you leading us, going through that process? I know I can. I know I can, because you're giving us the tools of how to actually look at things on a different level, and how to look on that leadership level that some people will never allow us to get to. And I am honored that I have the pleasure of just meeting your acquaintance. I mean, it has been an experience since our first conversation. You have just given so much meaning to what I enjoy doing, and I want to say thank you in advance for being who you are and all of the things that you are doing. It means a lot. It really does.
Victoria, thank you so much for having me and giving me the opportunity to share with the people that come on your show. Can I give them something for free?
You certainly can.
All right. I'm gonna give everybody something for free.
All right,
And
guys.
but you got to do something. You got to text the word leadershipology, the study of leadership. Leadershipology. Text the word leadershipology to 954-329-0281. You want to text the word leadershipology to 954-329-0281. Leave me your first name, your last name, and your email address, and I'll give you a free gift. So you wanted to give me your first name, your last name, your email address. Once you text the word leadershipology to 954-329-0281. Okay. And you can reach me anyway. I love talking to people. I love helping people. And I truly believe that service is the rent we pay to God for the privilege of walking his earth. It's not, the bottom line, and I look at it this way. If someone provides you the right value, price isn't an issue. But if there's no value, then price becomes an issue. So my question to anybody who talks to me is, are you getting value? If you're getting value, then price to me is not an issue.
Exactly.
From a coaching standpoint, I don't coach everybody. I don't profess to be a coach. I take 10 people a year. That's it. And
That's
the
it.
yeah, only 10. 10 people a year. Because here's the thing. And I know a lot of people take more than that, but this is the world according to Velton. For more than 10 people, I can't give you the quality that you deserve. If I'm coaching 50 people, I can't pay attention to you. I got to be able to hone in on you, work with you, help you, and do what it is you need, not what I think you need. And I have to be able to have that kind of feeling. And you, more important to me than me, have to be able to say, I'm getting more value than I thought I was signing in for.
Wow. See, y'all, I'm telling y'all, he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. Just to be able to just listen to you. Oh my gosh. So you already know I'm one of your 10, Yeah. Y'all move back. Y'all gotta get a seat. But I'm excited. I'm excited. Guys, let me just tell you that Velton is also going to come back. He is one of the phenomenal panelists, speakers at the Men of Value Conference that's coming June the 12th. And Velton, some of your fellow panelists are out there. Keith Slade's out there. Ralph Slade, Andre McCrae is out there. I see a couple of other people behind the scenes, but they are singing your praises already. So guys, get in there. I need you guys to come on and help us out. So
Those
Velton, I am excited.
I have so much fun with them every time that you bring us together. I just met these brothers last year when you brought us all together. We had so much fun talking and sharing and really going back and forth in a collaborative effort to bring a message forward. So I commend you on that, and I look forward to spending some time with those brothers because they're all a lot of fun and a lot of very, very intelligent people. So great.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, guys, y'all better get ready. It's going to be wild on June the 12th. Velton, if you could say one encouraging thing or one thing positive to people out there, well, you've said so much tonight. What one thing could you tell people tonight that you want them to take away, aside from all of the 100 things that you gave us already?
Well, the last word that you used, or the last phrase that you used, is something that I caution many leaders about. When you're in a leadership role and you have been entrusted to have an impact on other people's lives, focus on the leave behinds, not the takeaways. Focus on what you're leaving them with versus what you're taking away from them. Because again, the focus is on them, it's not on you. If you lift them up, they will carry you to wherever you're trying to go.
Amazing. Amazing. Guys, this is Mr. Velton Showell, my friend, Mr. Leaderologist himself. I don't know what else to say to you, my friend, other than thank you so much for taking out time out of your busy schedule. I mean, you are busy around the clock, and I appreciate you so much for just taking out time. Just our conversations, our text messages, you're just amazing, and I appreciate you. Guys, go out there, check out him. Look, if you are one of those people, those businesses, and you need somebody who's going to get you to that next level, this is the guy that can get you there. I'm telling you, he's helped me so much, and he doesn't even realize how much energy that he has given me these last few months just to keep pushing and not giving up, and just to keep on doing what I'm doing. So Velton, I thank you again. We're going to be talking more in the next few weeks, I'm sure. It's just like, I got to have a conversation just to keep myself going. And I appreciate you for even taking out time to send me a message. Some of you guys know that Velton was going to be with us a few weeks ago, but unfortunately he had a passing in his family. We continue to keep you and your family in our prayers. I know it's still a transitional time they're going through. but you have made, I'm sure you have made those people that you're connected to. I know you have made them proud just by continuing to keep on doing what you're doing. And I am thankful that you don't quit, that you keep on moving, because you're helping me transform my thinking so I can transfer the world that I'm in. And I appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you. I
All right,
appreciate.
guys. All right, guys. So if again, make sure you reach out to him. And the phone number is in there. It's on the comment section. There's a phone number there for where you need to text it to, and send your leader and type in the word leadership and with your name and email, and watch things happen for you. So, guys, next Sunday we have Miss let's see, Priscilla Monroe will be with us. She's going to be coming and talking about self-care, and she's one of my colleagues also in the Maryland area who will be coming with us next Sunday right here on Uncensored Conversation with Elevated Not Tolerated. And we'll be back at 8 o'clock. You can start looking for the information about the Men of Value conference that's coming up June the 12th. As I said, Velton is one of the panelists on that event. You don't want to miss the names that's coming out. You've already met some of the phenomenals. You've met Velton, you've met Ralph. You're getting ready to meet Andre. You're getting ready to meet Apostle Walker. You've met my godson, Keith Slade. You're also going to getting ready to meet some other phenomenal men, John and Justin Holland. They're going to be joining the platform. Guys, I'm telling you, get your tickets early. The event is free. It will be here. But in order for you to be able to sit in the room with these phenomenal men who are going to be talking about more of leadership, their Christian walk, how to deal with relationships, it's going to be packed where you don't want to miss it. June the 12th, mark it in your calendars right now. So, guys, we're going to see you next time. Make sure you always remain, you know what, elevated and not tolerated. Milton, if you'll wait for me just a few seconds, I will close it out. Guys, we'll see you next time. See you next. If you're going to be joining us in the morning, don't forget it's morning moments right here with Elevated Not Tolerated.